What is good, everyone? Welcome to today's charting session. Today is Sunday, January 26, 2025. Today we're going to be going over this week's price action, the trades that we ended up taking. And yeah, let's get into it. So Monday was a bank holiday, so I'm going to skip over Monday. Let's just get straight into Tuesday, which is right here, 9 a.m. All right, so coming into Tuesday, let's just pull up the daily bias and what I was looking at coming into Tuesday. Tuesday was what, the 21st? Okay. So we had around a 300-point move during Asia session, so I was expecting a lot of choppiness during New York. This was a really, really bad week, and the common theme of this week was just bad AM and then good PM price action. So I was trading a lot of PM session. I think I took 2 days where I traded PM session. So we'll go over PM session because that's where I took, that's where I made the majority of my profits this week. But yeah, so just bad AM, and there was really good PM session this week. Just doing the work with New York. Like, this is what happens when you see Asia session have like a 300-point move. You're gonna expect New York to chop and then PM be good, which is what happened almost every day this week. So yeah, we had this nice SMT. I wasn't really leaning any way. I was still bullish, and the whole entire week I was extremely bullish. Being that we were just trending up towards all-time highs, ES had a lot of that low resistance liquidity that we were looking at. So it was a really obvious draw higher. We just kept having these SMTs, but without any structure to validate going lower. So the majority of my daily biases I sent out this week was just still bullish until there's a clear flip in that order flow. Okay, so Tuesday, I don't think I took any trades. Let's just check this out, though. Oh, yeah, we did take a break even. So this is the first trade we took. We ended up going lower at open. There was that bearish bias towards London. There was that London Judas, right? London lows didn't really trade into anything significant that sponsored this move, so that was a pretty obvious draw on liquidity, and then from there you could expect a long from off that, which is what we were looking for, right? So we got that short at open with no entry, and then after that we ended up getting this really clean 4-minute IFEG, and price action for the most part ended up looking super clean. I ended up getting a fill around here. And then I ended up going break even once we hit this high here. And then we also had an unfilled 15-minute gap. So this was a mech model up to the 15-minute gap right up here. Unfortunately, this ended up getting stopped at a break even. I think Patty ended up taking some TP. And it did eventually end up hitting. This was just super, super slow delivery. Really just choppy delivery. And not good PA whatsoever. Ended up hitting at like 12 o'clock. So, like, definitely like horrible price action. Again, this is like a common theme where we'll see really, really bad price action during AM and then good price action in PM. So yes, the draw did end up hitting. I'm not holding through this though. But yeah, ended up just being a break-even trade overall. And I don't think I took any PM trades on Tuesday. So let's just get into the next day. If anyone has any questions on this day, though. You guys are good? All right. I didn't get break even. Nice. I held through it. That's crazy. All right, at 157. What happened at 157? It was a trade. A little long. Nice. I don't think I took this. Did I take this? Nah. Looks good though. Nice little long. Probably break even our TP one. All right. An SMT is a divergence between assets. So NQ and ES, they move correlated. When there's, let's say, this low gets taken on NQ and ES doesn't take that low, and it's maybe up here, and that's an SMT divergence. But yeah, definitely look at that tjrtrades video. It's a good video explaining SMTs. Okay, let's go into next day. This is Wednesday again. Just still delivering bullish. We are still just disrespecting these SMTs, still trending higher. And there was really no delivery lower, which is why I really didn't like any sort of shorts this whole week, because I was still bullish and there was nothing really for me to tell me otherwise. Okay, so coming into Wednesday, again, I think I was bullish again on Wednesday. Yeah, bullish buys today. We had this SMT. So what I expected from this SMT is for us to maybe have some sort of rebalance of the range, maybe some sort of CISD, trade down to London lows, then get some delivery off of that the same way we got it on the day before, right on Tuesday, where we had that sell-off, and then we got the long off of London lows. I kind of want to see that exact thing happen again, because it also was in this kind of volume imbalance that I wanted to see get traded back to. So that's what I was looking at. At open, I wanted to see, I'm looking at something else right here. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to see that rebalance of the range. It was kind of just awkward positioning of where we were. But yeah, wanted to see an open low high close, being that we had all of this generated sell side liquidity, right? We ended up opening and not really having a good open low high close, being that we just took this out in pre-market, and then 9:30 ended up distributing. And yeah, the only setup I saw really was this long here. There was this long. This was pretty good. We traded into a 5-minute breaker block right here. We also had like just, yeah, the CISD, right? This was overall a good long. I did just want to see another manipulation down to this 5-minute gap. And I know if I was like in this trade and I took this long, I would have been like super sussed out by this unfilled 5-minute. Even though we did trade it to the 3-minute, I just want to see another manipulation. Anyways, didn't get it. It's not like a good setup, I don't think. And then this long here was another good setup, but we left equal lows right here. So just leaving spread apart equal lows like this is not good. I don't like longing against that. So yeah, I didn't end up taking a long here. We ended up having this inversion for rally gap right here. And again, I'm not taking this because we left those equal lows, right? That ended up playing out though. And then here's the short that I wanted to take. So this was actually a really good short. I was about to take it. We ended up having just a pretty nice mech model. I think we swept out this buy side liquidity here on ES. So we had like a nice SMT. And then we had some sort of unfilled 15-minute below us. And we also had equal lows, right? So we had these equal lows right here, which was this unfilled 30-minute. And we also had these equal lows here. So overall, like this was the short setup I was looking at. I didn't end up taking this because it just took way too long. Like, you guys have to understand and remember, this is also why just journaling is so important. When you journal, you remember not only like the losing trades, which is so important, but you remember the winning trades. Like, you remember how good price action can be, and you remember how good delivery can actually be, right? It's like that 3-candle pattern formation of an inversion of making the gap and then inverting right after. Like, you know what good price action looks like, right? So when you're just like, oh, like debating whether the setup's good, it takes like 30 candles to invert, is like most likely not, right? This took so long to just invert some 1-minute bearish gap. We just left low resistance liquidity, like not good delivery, not good price action whatsoever. Really, really trash AM session. And yeah, just overall not anything good. And yeah, so that's that. Does anyone have any questions for this day? I did not end up taking this short here, but does anyone have any questions? Is it relevant if we make equal lows on NQ but not MNQ?
Only relevant on NQ. I wouldn't focus on MNQ ever, just only for entries really. There's going to be a lot of times too Dude, if you're someone who actively trades on MNQ, just make sure you're always looking at the NQ chart. There's also been times where like, um, NQ will fucking inverse and MNQ won't by like a tick, and it'll throw you off a lot. And then yeah, only focus on like equal lows and equal highs on NQ. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I can
do
check.
analysis on NQ, enter on MNQ.
Yeah, let me check out 1223. 1223, you said there was a setup. I don't really trade lunch hour, but let's see. On-field 15-minute right here. A lot of chop. What was the setup? 23. Oh, right here. Short right here. Not bad, yeah. Not a bad short. All right, so now I ended up taking 2 trades in AM session. There was some. There's no best time frame for a CISD. Just as long as you're using time frame alignment, that's all that matters. So
right on my mouth, bro. I was typing that John out.
Type shit. So I ended up taking these 2 trades in PM session. This was the first trade I ended up taking. I ended up taking this long here. So what I was looking at really was we had this. We were still inside of this hourly for value gap, and we were inside of this hourly order block. So what I could have waited for really is just the test into the opening price of this order block. And maybe that's why I got stopped out on this first trade. But yeah, overall, I like this setup a lot. Again, we were inside of that hourly fair value gap, hourly order block. We also had like these equal lows right here, and then we swept them, and then we just got like immediate momentum off of this. And then we had triple equal highs and an unfilled 5-minute. So this was just like textbook setup. The only thing I didn't like was, again, that hourly order block. So I went in a little bit lower risk on this first trade because I did see potential for it to go lower. I ended up getting stopped out pretty much immediately on this first trade. And then we hit the hourly order block like I expected. And then I re-entered longs right here at the retest of this, or I think just at this close, with the stop loss here for a 1 to 1.71 RR. So I ended up taking this long right here and then ended up playing out. And this was also turned out to be an unfilled 15-minute. So yeah, just like an overall really, really good long. How come you took 2 trades in a day? Shouldn't you normally just stick to one, or is it dependent on what you get on the day? Yeah, good question. So I trade 1 to 2. I take 1 to 2 trades, sometimes 1 to 4, 1 to 3 usually. Like, I don't limit myself to 1 trade a day. I used to when I was just like kind of unprofitable and still a beginner in the markets. And I always do suggest that for people to stick with 1 trade a day. And you always hear me telling like beginner traders, like, dude, trade like 1 trade a day is really all you need. Because anything after that, I feel like a lot of people just get super emotional. There's a bunch of emotions that get built up when you take more than 1 trade a day. But since, I've been trading for a while now, obviously I still have emotions, but it's very different where I'm able to actually manage them. So no, I don't limit myself to just 1 trade a day. As long as I see my model and see my setup present itself, I'll take it. But I do like to take only 2 trades a day, high quality setups. Yeah. I won't. I have a max loss limit though of 1%. So for when I'm like building, and that depends on like where I am overall. But
yeah, there's days where like price action is pretty slow. Things aren't like delivering too powerfully, I guess. So you'll probably go low risk and you can take 2 to 3 trades. But then there's days where it's good volatility, price action is moving fucking great, the draw on liquidity is clear, everything is playing out, and your first trade will be a banger, and you can just call it there. So I just typed it out, but I think like one way to see it is like on good days you want to be able to capitalize, of course, and then on mid days, try to avoid taking too many trades and chasing profits. So yeah.
okay, let's get into Wednesday now. Wednesday, or no, that was just Wednesday. It's Thursday. Okay. All right. So this is the 23rd. Okay, so Thursday, I did have, again, just a bullish bias, but again, the trend of the whole entire week was I just wanted to see that manipulation lower at open, and we just weren't getting that. We just kept like just distributing at open. But again, I was looking to see this AMD accumulation. I wanted to then see manipulation at open and then distribute to London highs. And it was bullish overall, but I had this kind of short-term bearish bias towards that previous day low and towards those London lows, just any area here. I'm looking to see an AMD at open, taking out those levels, and then distribute higher to those data highs and higher. So that's what I was looking at. And when I was looking, so at open, that's exactly what I was looking at, right? We ended up having more accumulation here. And then at open, and this had to be, I think, the worst price action day I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna lie, like this was like astonishing, like how bad this was, just super fucking choppy. There was Trump speaking at 11. But yeah, that was pretty much it. There was one setup here that I actually was going to take, and it was this short. But again, we took 30 candles to invert this gap, and then we left equal highs right here. Just like really bad setup. So no, this was just nothing good. And then we didn't even take out this sell side, and then we just traded higher, traded lower, traded higher. I mean, there's really nothing to commentate about this. But what I was looking for then was, again, London highs. So we ended up not manipulating lower, and that's fine. But we did end up creating this 15-minute bullish gap, leaving behind a condition, right? So this is the first gap we left the whole session, and this was a great condition, right? If we respect it and we get lower time frame structure out of it, then where should we go? London highs like I expected. And then if we disrespect it, then we could go lower and then maybe get a PM long. So that's what I was really looking at. Once Trump started speaking, there was like a lot of like random candles, random volatility happening, really obviously horrible choppy price action. So I risked $200 or I think $300 on this trade. There was a long setup right here that actually did like a lot. And I ended up getting stopped out of this for $300. And this was, again, it was a really nice setup to London highs and previous day high. Ended up hitting, but I'll show you what it was. It was that we ended up trading here, 1 minute CISD. We got an inversion for value gap right here, and I wanted to see London highs and higher. I had a stop loss just at this breaker block right here. So yeah, I just ended up getting stopped out. I didn't want to put it all the way down at the wick. It was just way too big of a stop. The breaker block, if we were bullish, should hold. But since we were so choppy and since the delivery was so bad, I ended up getting stopped out. I think I might have. No, I just got stopped out. And then from there, price did end up running, and we did end up going all the way to the higher targets. But let's just go into the second trade I took on the day. And it was, again, in PM session because of how much cleaner. Just look how much better this price action is. Just like so much better than this choppy shit. But first off, before I move on, does anyone have any questions on this loss I took? Okay, looks like we're good. So let's just get into PM then, because I did end up taking a trade in PM session. We ended up having a really nice SMT at this high at the internal highs. And then we also had an SMT with the external highs right here. So we had SMT with this high and then also these highs here. So it was really nice. It was a previous day high SMT as well as an internal high SMT. And it was just a very simple mech model. We had an unfilled 15-minute gap right here. I posted this trade. And it was a 4-minute IFVG. So we had a 4-minute IFVG here. I waited for a retest. And then I ended up getting filled right there. I didn't hold all the way down here. I ended up just closing there because it was a 1 to 2 RR. And I just needed that amount of profit to secure a payout. I think I closed more around here or something. But yeah, this was just the trade I took. 0 drawdown. I top ticked this shit. It was beautiful.
That was actually the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So this was that.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that. Like literally, not even a singular tick.
Yeah, that shows beautiful. But yeah, that was just off of the 4-minute. In AM session, price ended up going to Asia highs, but in terms of getting all confluences satisfied, do you think Asia highs left is fine or no? I don't really understand your question. What do you mean? In terms of getting all confluences satisfied? What do you mean? Even as a beginner, when you get these conditions choppy in AM, do you suggest staying only to AM and not taking a trade, or is it okay to try to PM? Yeah, just what Father David said. Backtest for yourself. But yeah, usually if AM's choppy, PM will be clean. But the wick is stop loss like a rule. I don't know. Oh my god. What's the score to the game right now? Fuck. Like London highs hit, you have your confluences, IFEG, etc. Would you wait for Asian highs to get hit, or just... So for the short, since we already took all of that buy side, I don't know what, maybe you're looking at like Asia highs. I don't care about any buy side level like here because we took it all. I think the SMT was all the way here. There was a huge SMT with the previous day high. So there was no need for price to go higher here when we had this unfilled 15-minute gap right here. Right. So on that trade, we took intermediate low. Yeah, but I don't care since we didn't take the draw. The draw on liquidity was still this and also lower. Could I have held till here? Sure. But 1 to 2 hours is all I need to make bread. When looking for retests like this trade, do we need to see first like the intermediate? I mean, it's really just screen time, bro. Like there's times where I'll go break even if the intermediate low is taken. There's times where I won't. There's times where, you know, I'll not take the trade if the intermediate low is taken. There's times where I will. Like as long as the draw is not taken, like for example here, like what I was mainly looking at was the 15-minute gap. I don't really care about anything else. As long as this 15-minute gap is not traded to, then it's still valid for a mech model. So yeah. Why didn't you hold the equal lows? Because I just needed this amount of money to get a payout. So, and it was a 1 to 2 hour. I didn't need anything more than that. On that short, I targeted the accumulation lows. Again, yeah. Is taking some sort of wick liquidity always a requirement for your model? Key levels also work. Yeah, I just use key levels. What stopped you from over trading? I mean, there's not really like one, like again, there wasn't like one thing that stopped me from over trading. I guess it was just a lot of like years of just that shit happening where I would keep trying it and it wouldn't work, and it just got to a point where it's like, you know that the money you make when you overtrade is not yours. You're gonna give it right back to the markets eventually. No matter like, oh my god, I made money and I made the money back on this day, so I should try it again the next day. It's like that mindset and that mentality is never gonna work. So just knowing that, you know, that money's not yours, and to stop treating it like it is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just it was just years of just a year of straight up not following my rules. I got sick and tired of it. Buddy just skipped. It's because I just answered that question. Do you think 2023 had shitty PAing compared to 2024? Because I'm back to 2023 and I find it very abstract. No, I don't think so. I think 2023 was really good. I've backtested the majority of 2023 in the recording stop, so you can check it out there. Okay, let's get into the next and final day. Which was Friday right here. All right. So Friday, this was the best PA we got all week. Yeah, this was the best PA we've gotten all week, which was this. There was really good setups, actually. So first being this short, we had a really beautiful short an AM session where we had a bunch of generation of L. We had these equal highs here, and we also had a really, really clean SMT with previous day high. So at open, we ended up trading higher, ended up taking out those highs, ended up forming that bearish SMT, and then we ended up getting a few trades. So there was this 1 minute short here. It wasn't my favorite. The one that I did really like, though, and this was also because there was 10 a.m. news, the short of the day had to have been right here. So this was definitely like the best play all week, to be honest. This 5 minute IFVG, I did not end up taking this for a lot of reasons. Number one is I was just overall still bullish. ES was extremely close to not extremely close to all-time highs, but it was like right up here, and ES had like a bunch of LR right here. So I was just overall bullish. I did, of course, want to see this play happen to then take a long, which is what I've been, waiting for the whole entire time. But I just wasn't that confident in it. We had a 5 minute IFVG, and then we also still held this volume imbalance right here. So definitely was a little bit sus. We were also inside of a 15-minute gap right here. We also had data highs right here. Just a lot of confluences for me to not take the trade. But in hindsight, could I have taken it just based on draw on liquidity? Yes. And regarding everything else, yes. Because it was in place for a really, really nice sell and a really good short. And overall, it was a really good play. So this was definitely a really good short to take. But then the play right after. Damn, who is the guy that said this long after is not going to work when we were waiting for our long?
We took the screenshot? Yeah.
I need to find it.
Mm-hmm. That bro was on his fucking... Bro, he was like super convinced I was not going to play out. I screenshotted that shit too. I had it on my screen.
It wasn't Eric.
That wasn't Eric.
It wasn't Eric. You find it really quick.
I can't find it.
Me either.
Screenshots and Mac just like disappear, bro.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
There it is. Father David. Look at this fucker. Longs aren't going to play out.
Oh, and he's in chat. Bro was mad quiet.
Wow.
Bro was mad quiet in chat right now.
Yeah, and I bet he signal botted the alert too. Anyways, okay, so there was a few setups we were looking at. This was the first long that I was gonna take. This was the long right here. We had a 1 minute IFVG. And there was a lot of setups here. Okay, first was this 1 minute, but there was a 3 minute, so I was waiting for the 3 minutes to get inverted. Ended up getting inverted, and then the close was just
that's just a high estrogen entry right there. A high testosterone requires 1 minute. I saw the 1 minute, didn't care to check other time frames. All right.
Wow.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah, for sure, buddy.
Yes,
for sure, buddy.
I purposely took the 1 minute and definitely knew that there's a 4 minute.
For sure.
No, it doesn't matter. But then there was that retracement into rebalance, which so I went in on all my accounts, but one account I scaled in. Actually, one account I only went in at that rebalance right there, which was fucking beautiful. And that was a good one. It's like Blake said last. When was it, bro? We took a trade, and you were saying that you didn't like that we just sort of aggressively ran through the inversion, and we'd most likely retrace, blah blah blah, and you don't want to go break even. I don't know, some bullshit. But yeah, when you have those leg ups like that, like for example that inversion with just a lot of up closing candles, and you have that really bullish leg, chances are you'll probably get a rebalance, and you can get like some equilibrium entry. So that one was nice, and then Blake took the inversion right after that, which was solid as.
You broke your rules of not trading 11. Okay. This just tell. All right.
He's rage baiting.
I know
he's rage baiting. He's rage baiting.
Okay. I'm not. Okay. He's rage baiting. He's rage baiting. All right.
Just go on. I need to do my lessons so I can go to dinner.
Yeah, I need to watch this fucking Bills game. Okay. Then after that, I took a 2-minute long. Taking this 2 minutes to unfill 15 to the unfilled gap. This was based off of we traded back into this 3-minute IFVG. We ended up getting a bounce off of that. 2-minute was right here. The close on this also ended up being pretty horrendous, so I waited for a retrace, got my retrace, and then I ended up hitting the unfilled 15-minute. I think I did close a little bit earlier because there was an SMT. It ended up playing out for about that 1-to-1 RR though. So really nice trade in AM session. Just on Friday. This was just the best price action we got all week, which is pretty funny, being how shit and slow the delivery was. But to be honest, like, this was the best price action we got all week, the most amount of setups I've seen. And that's that. Does anyone have any questions on this trade right here? Butter. It was butter.
All right, let me get into the shibby.
All right.
Why'd you take it past 11? Anytime AM generates liquidity and doesn't meet draw, 11 AM will typically go ahead and run it. It's as simple as that. It's not just like we don't just trade 11 for fun to trade 11. No. AM lack of delivery, 11 AM will typically cook. So just a little thing to be eyeing out. If you ever see, AM doesn't really deliver to draw, you can stay on for another 20, 30 minutes and see if something presents itself during 11 AM. Simple as that. Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna end my recording right there.